Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I'm going to get right to it. We have homework, everybody. We have homework, but it's work that's going to change your life. And it's really not so much homework. It's really things that we should be mindful of, continue to be mindful of. And I found this at the very end of her book. Usually the homework is at the end of the book. Yes. Love yourself, love your life. And I've always said this book is like the owner's manual for all of us to navigate through emotions, relationships, all of that in our lives. And we're going to dig into your homework assignment today. It's going to be worth it. Trust me. You really don't have to do anything except listen. She's an amazing psychologist, and she's the author of that book. Dr. Ann Creekmore is back with us today. Hey, how you doing, Ann?
Good, Steve. How are you?
Really good. I'm working on my homework. I hope I get an A.
I know you will.
Yeah. Well, there's eight items here, and I'm going to read them, and then we'll go into deeper detail. But when we talk about homework for the rest of your life, this homework that we're referring to, what would you say it is?
Well, it's homework about loving yourself and being kind to yourself, enhancing yourself, your words, your self-talk, your thoughts, really, create your life. And it's about you being nice to you, being friendly, leaving yourself friendly voicemails and doing things to pep and encourage yourself so that you can create the life you want, And so those are it's kind of the focus is love, to show love to yourself, not come from a place of fear, but come from a place of love and loving yourself.
Well, let's dig into it.
Sure.
And all of these, this is almost like a recap of things that we've talked about in the past. And just 8 items, and every one of them is so important. For example, use thought stopping of negative thought and replace it with positive self-talk at the moment, and religiously do that. You got to nip, as they say, nip it in the bud. When something negative comes up, sounds like replace it immediately. Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think one therapist suggested that people should wear a little rubber band and just ping themselves just slightly. Don't hurt yourself, just to get your attention. Because, if you notice you're saying something to yourself that you would not say to a family member, friend, probably wouldn't even say it to an enemy, then you got to know that is not self-enhancing. That is not the right thing to say. You need to be friendly and kind and gentle with your own self. So it's really a matter of catching that negative thought when it occurs and then transforming it into the positive. It's a lot of times it can be unconscious beliefs that we've accumulated through our experiences as children, and saying like, I'm not, worthy, or I'm stupid, or whatever. And we've got to change that. And each time you put the positive in and say the opposite, it's like taking a glass of muddy water and you're taking a clear pitcher of water and you're pouring it into this glass of muddy water. And then as you pour the clear water, all this mud starts to come out and keep pouring and keeps coming out and keep pouring. And finally, you're going to have a nice, clear, pure glass of water. And that's what you're doing to your mind. If every time you're catching these negative thoughts and you're saying, wait, no, that's not nice, I'm not going there, it's just going to make me feel bad, and put in what you would say to a friend or your child or or someone else that you care about, and you just put it in, and it will eventually clear all that negative self-talk out and the negative self-statements you're making.
And we're not just referring to the self-talk. What about just the negative stuff in general? Like, for example, you're driving, somebody cuts you off. What's the first thing we do? You're like, you start yelling in your car at the other person. I get it. There was a moment there.
Right.
But to change that as fast as you can into something that is not so negative, maybe that person was having a bad day. Maybe they get a phone call and it was a life-changing phone call. Maybe they're supporting a family and they're working 4 jobs. Okay, maybe they shouldn't be driving because they're tired, but it happened. And there was no accident. They just, made a mistake at that moment.
Right.
To change your view of it. And I've been there, and I found myself
Right.
when I'm aware of it, changing my feeling faster, whereby it could go on for 10, 15, 20 minutes or more, where you're like, I don't believe it first. And then you're on the phone with somebody. Yeah, I was just driving and somebody at the corner, blank cut me off. Yeah, can you believe that? Instead of that, just flip it around. Not flip them the bird, but flip it around, where a lot of times that happens. I don't want to say angry, but triggered, like, but then I'm like, you go, it's okay. Just go. It's all right. And that's it. And just move on.
Right. Absolutely. That was well said. And a really good example. It's not, the positive self-talk is not just about what you say about yourself. It's what you say about your life, your environment, because that's still part of you, your experiences. You don't want to look at any of your experiences as negative experiences.
Yeah.
You want to be able to, there may be problems, but they're not problems. They're actually just opportunities for growth. So if you're working on yourself, then you can always turn a lemon into lemonade, that it can be a situation like that one where, say, you're working on positive self-talk and being able to stay chill or be empathic, treat others as you wish to be treated, or be grateful. You can just work on that. It's like, oh, somebody kind of came into your lane a little bit, but you can turn it into something positive that enhances your virtuous self and your positive mood and your positive self-talk. So it could be a little test, a little good thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
You can say many things. You can say, wow, that was close. I'm glad that worked. There wasn't any problem. Thank you. This is great.
Oh yeah. You're turning it into gratitude.
Exactly.
Look what that car just came by. Whoa. You know what? I'm
Yeah.
grateful that they I turned,
Yeah.
they noticed whatever, and it all went well.
It all went well. And you want to treat others as you wish to be treated. Think about, like you said, reframing it in terms of like, how would you like to be treated if somebody, if you went a little bit toward another lane, would you want to be honking and, like you said, flipping the bird and making you feel bad? Well, no, if you wouldn't want to be treated like that, then you don't treat others like that. And don't say things to yourself that are going to anger you and make you do that. Because it's really what you say to yourself about the event that causes you to feel a certain way. And then your behavior kind of follows. So you got to catch those thoughts, that interpretation, the negative interpretation of what's happening in life, to the positive. And then you're going to have a more positive feeling about it and a more positive solution, or reaction to the situation.
Yeah. Stopping at the very beginning, because like you said, it's a chain reaction.
Exactly. It's kind of, you're causing yourself to feel a certain way. It's not the outside causing you. It's what you're saying to yourself that's causing it to you to act that way. And then it'll turn into the negative situation if you've made yourself more angry or more upset about it and then acted out in some fashion.
So that's number one, in no particular order, of your homework assignment for the rest of your life. And number two, learn to visualize and engage in whatever daily spiritual practice connects you to your source. Envision your life and your world is good the way you desire it. Tell us about that.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I try to explain that, we all are, we all want to believe in the good and create the good, know that we are good and that we deserve good and that we can create good. And whatever brings you to that sense of love and inner peace is something you practice. It can be your, religion. It could be your spirituality. It could be secularly, cognitive behavioral therapy, working on positive self-talk and converting it to, it could be, any kind of, or meditation, anything that brings you to that space where you can be at that place where you are shining your light, if you will, your love and light, and being able to be at that place of love and peace within you. So that's something, as part of your daily practice, to include something like, I always suggest maybe a couple hours a day for mind, body, spirit, taking care of your health physically, mentally, spiritually, and putting something in that brings you to that sense of inner peace and well-being. And that can be many things. So it's very from your culture, your upbringing, your religion, your spirituality, but it should be always something that's bringing you to feeling good.
Interesting. The visualization
Mm-hmm.
of connecting to source. So is that almost like meditation? Because people have told me before they have a visual of what they do to get in a certain mindset, certain place. And if you want that to be with a God, source, whatever it is, it seems reasonable to do the same exact thing. Just some people dream, not dream, but meditate, walking down steps or taking an elevator. I have one friend that's how they do it. They visualize taking an elevator and it opens up on the ground floor to a beach, and they walk out onto the beach in their mind. And that's how it begins. Everything they do, whether it's connecting to a God, whether it's connecting to whatever, that's how they meditate. So I guess whatever works for you.
I love that. I had not heard of that, someone using that. It reminds me a little bit of hypnosis, that the way I would do it, which is that, you want to get to that place of, of peace where you are more at alpha or theta brainwaves rather than not beta, like the fast moving, taking care of, actions, where you kind of bring yourself down to a receptivity to your good, like you've kind of breathed into something positive. So you're receptive to the good coming.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at this one. Keep a gratitude journal and count your blessings.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about gratitude before, even mentioned the gratitude journal. I do it. I try to regularly do it. I know, I miss a day here and there. It's interesting over time, over years. I'm afraid to admit this. But I'm sitting there sometimes in the morning, like today. What am I grateful for? And I have to think about it. Like, and of course, grateful for your family, kids, things like that, whatever, those types of things. I don't want to always write those. So I go a little bit deeper. But once you start thinking, just looking around what you have to be grateful for, it's pretty amazing. What can be, even the little things.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's just important to try, I mean, it's to just say, whatever comes to mind is going to raise your serotonin, your positive mood neurotransmitter. They have found by saying the positive words, they just, they will start to raise your own internal antidepressant and natural mood, positive mood neurotransmitters. So you can just look around you. You can, say, hey, when you wake up, I slept well. That was good. Or, hey, I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I mean, you try to aspire to saying 10 things right away to get yourself into that positive mood. And they don't have to be major things. They can be, but just to keep focusing on that positive, and don't criticize yourself. Is it big enough or not? Just be free with what comes to your mind, what feels good. Oh, it's sunny out today. That's
Yeah. Cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Could be you are so happy for that cup of coffee you have every morning, and you're grateful to the barista. You're grateful to the people that grow the beans, the people that do the packaging, all of that.
Absolutely.
And side note, before we move on to your next homework assignment, is it's been said that if you practice gratitude, you're sending a message to the universe to send you more things to be grateful for.
Absolutely. The more you focus on the good, the more that is going to grow. And the more you focus on the negative, unfortunately, that's more of that is going to grow.
Yeah.
The example you gave about, a small thing happening, as you're driving, could turn into being, angry, and then spending time on the phone, talking to someone about what happened, and maybe even making yourself upset to the point you're not sleeping that night. I mean, a very tiny thing can escalate into your own pain. And then say anger is like taking a poison pill, expecting somebody else to die, right? I mean, really, you're the one that person doesn't know that it even bothered you, and you're the one who's like still talking about it later that night and not sleeping well, and it's made for a bad evening when you could be at home enjoying, your free time.
How about this one? And by the way, we're talking about homework for the rest of your life. These things you should be doing on a regular basis. This is your homework if you want to lead a fulfilling, joyful, very positive life. Positive is surround yourself with positive-minded people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. That is very important. Right. Go ahead.
How does that go? You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Yeah.
I gotta think about that for a sec. Wow.
Exactly. Right. So it is very important to not be in toxic relationships that are, or to help the people around you to be at that positive, and that you maybe have a prayer partner, if you will, or a positive mind partner that you can turn to, and always kind of put things together in a manner where that you've turned it into the positive. Somebody kind of reinforces that with you, and that you're always being at that, whatever. That's why if you're in the same thought world, whatever that might be, a secular, religious, spiritual, it's kind of like you move into the good together. You communicate at a deeper level. For people that were spiritual, religious, it might be like, hey, we just heard so-and-so wasn't feeling well. Let's just see him, in God's white light, and healed, and just put that out and let it go, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, well then that's gone. We just kind of, we're going to be positive together on it.
Love
and,
it.
That could be part of visualization. I mean, prayer is actually visualization, your power of intention.
I never thought of it I never thought of it in that way. Wow.
Yeah, it's all the same everywhere, it's just different words we use to describe.
Well, a lot of times we pray for something we need or want. And that could be, I'm praying for a sports car. I'm talking about you're praying because you want somebody to do well in a situation, whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
So you're visualizing that where you should be when you pray. I never thought of it that way. Wow.
Right. And there's so much research, quantum physics around thing, that just supports that actually there is some energy that is getting transmitted and having that positive effect, that's shining that light on situations.
Well, like manifestation, kind of the same thing.
Exactly.
How about this one? Focus on the good in yourself and your world, and know that through seeing yourself and others as whole and perfect, this will manifest, there we go, in your life. Whatever you put your attention on grows. Absolutely. Kind of what we just said in a way. The last one we were talking about, praying, but it's all about, how does that go? Your energy, where your attention goes, the energy flows.
Exactly. Yes, because it's really what you're saying that causes your emotions, and your emotions lead you into your actions, and your actions kind of determine the outcome of how things are going to go. I mean, if you have a big, get angry and have a big fight, it's not going to be as good as if you turn it into, hey, that was good. Now I get to go home and enjoy myself, lucky. And then you feel good and you've moved into your good.
Talking about homework for the rest of your life, things that you can do to lead a wonderful life. How about this one? Read and attend classes and workshops related to the power of thoughts that will help you learn more about how to transform yourself, to love yourself, and to love life. Extra resources are in the reference section of this book, by the way. And there are many sources out there, but one of them is a podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
On
and
today's especially.
right. So
Yes.
if you've got an interest in what we're talking about in terms of being more spiritual, being more harnessing the power of your thought, learning about maybe even metaphysics and things like that, go look, find some things, watch a YouTube video, whatever it might be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, the Unity Church is a Christian religious science sister church. They focus more, all the religions focus on words as the pillar of everything. In the beginning, there was the word, right? You put your verb out, create your life. It's just in there as such an important thing. Or prayers, which is what? Thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
that's you can do it anywhere. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a form of therapy. Cognitive means the cognitions are your thoughts, and that's the most effective form of psychotherapy, where
Wow.
you can go into therapy and learn how to focus on changing your negative thoughts into your positive thoughts to create positive, fulfilling life.
Side note for anybody that is hearing this or watching it and thinking, oh, look at those two people. They drank the Kool-Aid.
And we're
all
doing fine.
right. All I can say is I need proof. I'm skeptical. And when I started digging into the stuff that we're talking about, I would see some of the proof of things going on there. I would look at the science, energy,
Absolutely.
quantum physics, all established. Some dude, I don't know, his name is Einstein. He started, he was talking about that. And
Absolutely.
people
Yes.
weren't listening.
Correct.
All of that is there for us. And if you
That is
start
correct.
putting the
Yes.
pieces together, I want to make sure we get to these two before we run out of time. This one is an easy one. Find a cognitively knowledgeable, enlightened psychotherapist, such as a licensed clinical psychologist who focus on positive self-talk and understands the power of intention. You do. You're that person.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
We might have, you need also maybe accountability and somebody to help move you forward. If you're going through some challenges, it's not easy to stay positive. We get it.
Right.
And this one, the last one, affirm daily as needed. I am good and I have, and I deserve all good. And I release all fear and relationships. And you can add your own affirmations on a piece of paper as well. Love that.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Just accept the joy of the moment. You can add that. Not accepting the joy of the moment.
I want to add here that the gratitude journal that I just referred to that I write in.
Yes.
There's some expensive ones, more expensive ones out there, like $25 or whatever. I found a knockoff, if you will, does the same exact thing for $8 on Amazon. And you list 3 things that you're grateful for. You list 3 things that would make today great. You list 3 affirmations, which what we just said there. And it starts with I am, and then 1, 2, and 3. What are you? I am. And as you can tell us, I am is a very powerful defining statement in what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this $8 gratitude journal, it has, I don't know, will last you a year. It also has what acts of kindness did you do? And what would have made today better? And it's all there on one page. And there's some inspirational insight, spiritual insight. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. $8.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Amazon's got everything. Right?
Yeah, but you know what? I found I was writing in just a notebook, and that's all good too. But this kind of holds your hand, and it's like the feels of what to write down and where to write it, and then kind of makes you think.
Absolutely, it's kind of a practice. It is that practice that you're doing.
Yeah,
we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm.
Got like 20 seconds. I want to ask you, why is I am so powerful?
Well, why do you think it is, Steve? Because you brought it up, so it must be something you're thinking about. But
I believe it makes a difference in our lives because it's definitive, and it's you. It's what you are, and when you follow it up, I am. resilient. I am strong. I am wonderful. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right. It's just connecting to, your inner, in a way, your sacred space of yourself, claiming your good, your inner good.
Yeah. Your core values, maybe, whatever.
Your virtues. Yeah.
And along the same way, a hypnotherapist told me this, along with I am, you always, if you want to make an impression within yourself, and works with others too, the statement, is it true that? So is it true that you're resilient? Is it true that you are a wonderful person? And you can't deny it when you hear it. Well, yeah, it's true.
That's true, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's always good to add some examples.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
This is the book. Yes, there was a little homework, but it's great. Love yourself, love your life. AP Filosa is her pen name. And if we want to retain you on the Psychologist level, what's the best way to find you, Ann?
Easiest, I think, is just to go to Psychology Today online and just put my name in, Ann with an E, silent E, the end of Ann, Creekmore. And you'll find me on there. And then you can just click. I just put my picture and, then just click the link and go right into my whole health, my body, spirit kind of practice, licensed clinical psychology practice. And it'll have my books. It'll have my phone number and email and everything.
All right. Thank you for today. Everybody, you have homework. Make sure you do your homework. It's very important.
Be sure you love yourself.
Exactly. All right, Ann. Thanks. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
You're wonderful.
Coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the mytuner-radio, online radio box, and simpleradio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.